the program only not started.
Yes, good evening. Very sorry, unusual problem is happened. It was also difficult me also for joining. Okay, these are the problem which is coming. We are also getting experienced. Now the another program we are scheduled with the great speakers on the amendment, whatever it is coming up and in front of us. This time, as usual, we are come with great speakers and people involved in the lawmaking. I don't found whatever the speakers we are brought up. There is no other people are available more than this whatever we are brought up. We are seeing them from the very beginning of the stage when we are enter into this profession. No necessary to explain about their introduction and all those things. Still welcoming MADAAN sir, uh, the great person having a distinct view, criticizing the thing without any fear. That is what the most thing which I am much fascinated with MADAAN sir. Criticize. That is inbuilt into his blood and habit like that. And another important guest is to be Sanjeev Pandey. The greatness of Sanjay Pandey himself is involved in this lawmaking and amendment. He was happened to monitor about 1,000 CIRP cases, I mean initiation and monitoring, and about 1,200 liquidation and personal insolvency with great experience. And since he's involved in the lawmaking, and they are the best people to explain what is the impact, what is the ground of the modification, amendment, whatever it is here. Along with us, as usual, we are having Nipunji, very interesting speaker. Uh, we are expecting ASHISH MAKHIJA ji to join. Maybe because of the technical reason, he is not able to join it. So already we are late. Welcome, ASHISH MADAAN ji, please. It's your time starting. Please, sir. Please enlighten us with the amendment, whatever is coming up in front of us.
4757 போடுறது 157 ஏதோ இருக்கா
Seti, please mute everybody and unmute MADAAN ji. Disturbance should be eliminated.
I think you may mute Ms. Vijay Kumari Natarajan for last minutes.
Seti, please mute everybody and unmute MADAAN sir, because some lines are getting disturbance.
Thank you.
I'm not able to figure out, otherwise I could have muted.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. Thank you, Vinod ji. Welcome my co-panelists, Mr. Nipun, Mr. Sanjeev Pandey, Mr. ABHISHEK Anand, all other dear friends. Sabko namaskar. Vinod ji, you are carrying my image that I criticize the provisions. It's not criticism. I do critical analysis.
Sorry.
So there lies the difference.
Yes.
And you know, positive criticism should always be welcome. Now, another thing,
Yes,
I have received request for some of the participants before the program that today we are starting late in the evening. So we should try to wind up by 7:30. I don't know whether that will be possible or not. But to be very frank, I don't think that whatever the regulations we are going to discuss, the CIRP liquidation or voluntary liquidation, that we will be able to cover everything today. I think you need to plan another event shortly. Today it's not possible to cover everything. Next is for the consumption of everybody. I have received an information today that Vidarbha review petition has been dismissed today. However, it has been said in the open court that in the final order, you will get some clarification from the court. But the petition stands dismissed today. निपुण जी, आपके पास भी कोई और खबर हो तो प्लीज बताइएगा।
सर अभी तक तो नहीं आई है, लेकिन इट विल कम बिकॉज उसका एक कनेक्टेड मैटर में वी आर देयर।
It was listed today. After 19th, it was listed today, and I've been informed it has been dismissed. Abhishek, do you have any information?
Sir, on the review of Vidarbha?
Yeah.
No, sir. Not. I was told it is listed, but I'm not sure whether it is dismissed or not.
So it has been dismissed. I have got the information. It has been dismissed, and it has been said that there will be some clarification which will be provided in the final order, in the dismissal order.
Right.
Okay, friends, now I straight away come to the CIRP amendment regulations dated 16th of September 2022. Followed by, if time permits, we will discuss the liquidation amendment regulations of the same date. As the number of amendments are too much, the time was short. I have not prepared any PPT, and normally I don't prepare any PPT. I'll straight away go through the regulations. We will discuss each and every amendment. And if any discussion is required, I will definitely invite my co-panelists for the discussion on the same. And then if any other participant wants to deliberate on that, he or she will also be welcome. But some of the amendments, according to me, do not require any discussion at all. I'll be reading those amendments and then we'll move forward. Do I have sharing right? Yes, it's there. Thank you. Just a minute.
Sir, any issues?
No, just a minute. Let me open it. I'm trying to open it. Yeah. Are you able to see the regulations?
Yes, it can be little more. If you can expand, then will be nice.
Okay. What I have done, you know, the modified till date modified regulations, consolidated regulations are not available on website. What I have done modifications in the existing regulations, and in these regulations, whatever the amendments are incorporated in red color. Actually, all the 20th September regulations have also been incorporated, but that we are not going to discuss today. Yeah, I think this is the first amendment where it has been provided that the IRP shall have an email account, and this email ID actually will continue throughout the CIRP process and the liquidation process. Whenever any resolution professional is appointed, the IRP shall hand over the email ID to the resolution professional. And whenever the liquidator is appointed, the RP shall transfer this email ID, hand over the email ID to the liquidator. And if in between there is any change in the resolution professional or change in the liquidator, whenever there is any, the new incumbent shall be provided with this email ID by the outgoing one. I think this is the crux of this amendment. I think it's a welcome change. We should accept it. Now, if my co-panelist wants to deliberate on this.
So in fact, just to add, it is actually a welcoming amendment for the reason that in various matters where
What happened to
RPs are being replaced, there the issue of handing over of emails is coming, and in fact there are.
Call him, yeah.
I'm sorry.
Call him.
Mr. Vinod, please mute yourself.
Sorry.
In fact, sir, in some cases, one of the argument which was taken was that it is my personal email ID which I have prepared for the process. So in fact, this will, I think, curtail down those 19 applications filed inter se between the outgoing IRP and the incoming IRP or the liquidator, as the case may be.
And we have witnessed that in the particular principal bench,
Yes.
number of insolvency professionals have been taken to task for not handing over this email ID.
Yes.
Yes, Mr. Vikram also say something on this.
Yeah, Madanji, I had one concern, regarding this provision. Now, presume ENY is the IRP or the RP in the matter. Now, they have an email ID which is on their private server. Now, suppose there is a change from the RP to the liquidator. Now, ENY is not the liquidator. Now, even if they transfer the email ID, the person who is given the email ID will not be able to use it. People outside the organization will have no access to ENY server.
I have a small request. See, we are already late started. Our panelists are well capable of explaining all those things. So we should reduce question. Vikram Kumarji, please, and quickly we have to cover the things.
Vinodji, thoda hone to please. We need, this is practical.
I know you are much. I know you are much interactive person, sir. But still, we have to consider all other timing.
Then in that case, I will advise that if somebody is from any particular organization or entity and they are having their email ID which is hosted on their own server, it's better advisable not to have that email ID which is hosted their own server. Later, it may create problem. And my humble submission would be better to have a Gmail ID from the beginning itself.
Sir, in that case, if it's on the personal server, is it not enough if the backup of the emails is given to the incoming IP or liquidator?
MAKHIJA ji, you have any view on this common email ID?
Well, Madan sir, I think this provision is very much required in a sense that we also face the same issue because one of the persons in a real estate CIRP now continued communication on his personal email. Now, when we asked for it, then he said, how can I share my personal email ID? So there was a difficulty. Then the solution which was found was obviously that all the emails were backed up and he forwarded all emails which ran into 1,000 emails. So it becomes a huge problem. But I think what Mr. Vikram also mentioned, I think he's also right. Because if you belong to an IP entity or you belong to a large organizations, generally for safety purposes, you use your own personal servers like ey.com. Now, in that case, obviously, this cannot be handed over. But yes, you are right when you say that in future, one must take care that rather than having your own private servers, you should make it on the Gmail server or whatever it is. So I think that is the idea.
Thank you. Next amendment is insertion of a new Regulation 6A, communication to creditors. And it says the IRP shall send a communication along with a copy of public announcement made under Regulation 6 to all the creditors as per the last available books of accounts of the corporate record through post or electronic means, wherever the information for communication is available. Provided that where it is not available to, not possible to send a communication to the creditors, the public announcement shall be deemed to be the communication which has been made to everybody, all the creditors. I also welcome this, and actually since the inception of this legislation, I have been advising all my fellow friends, insolvency professionals, that whether you receive a claim or not, But please send a communication to all the creditors, all those who are creditors as per your books of accounts, and intimate to them that the company has gone into CIRP, and if they are so willing, they may file their claim in the respective prescribed forms. But only thing is that on what address and what shall be the Vinodji, there is some, I think there is still some disturbance in the back of some participants.
I will just settle it, sir.
Madan sir, in fact, this amendment would not stand now diluted by the recent judgment of Honorable Supreme Court, where it is said that, in fact, the IRP or the RP has to take out the claims from the books and put it in the IM. Yes, I agree that 6A is required, but now by virtue of, even if I don't send it, I am actually put on a higher task to take out the information from the books and put it into the information memorandum.
You know, but ASHISH, Abhishek, there will be a difference. In the IM, you will be putting that he or she or this entity is the creditor as per books of accounts of the corporate debtor. But if you send this communication and tomorrow you receive the claim, then that will be the claim amount and not be the tentative one as per the books of accounts. Because any creditor who is not appearing in the list of claimant but appearing in the information memorandum only, the RA may not consider that creditor seriously. But yes, if there is a claim and claim has been accepted by the resolution profession, then certainly this claimant has to be considered seriously by the resolution applicant. But only my observation is as per the last available books of accounts of the corporate debtor. So the books of accounts are available for they say 2014-15. Whether you will be sending the communication to all those, or first of all, you will be preparing the books of account. These may be some of the practical difficulties, but I think objective is laudable that each creditor, as far as possible, should be communicated that the company has gone into CIRP and they may file their claim. MAKHIJA sir.
Madan sir, I feel there are few problems. See, insofar as clash with the Supreme Court, I don't see that, because you see that only says if somebody does not file a claim, you have to inform in information memorandum, which every RP should do. Because at the end of the day, what is the purpose of the IM? The purpose of IM is that RA should know what are the possible liabilities, whether the claim is filed or not filed. So that apart. Now here there are few problems. Number one, it simply says that IRP shall send a communication. Now in how many days? Nothing is mentioned. So supposing, can I send it in 90 days? Can I send in 5 days? Can I send in 10 days? Nothing is mentioned out there. So this is one of the problem I see. Number one. Number two, it says you send it by post or by email. And I can tell you from my experience, based on the RP's experiences, that A, you don't get books of account, number one. And you can't get it in 3 days or 10 days. Supposing I get books of account after 90 days, then is it, am I liable to send after 90 days? And then in the books of account, everyone knows in the ledger account where the addresses are written, where the email is written. So today, I mean, your point is also valid. Supposing the data is very old, what is the point it is serving then? Number two, where are the emails? Where are the, addresses? And then, Madan sir, please mark my words, this is going to bring in more litigation. Now tomorrow, if for some reason I'm not able to send a communication to any creditor, he's not able to file a claim, he will come back to the court that RP defaulted in sending a notice to me. Now it is going to bring in a lot of litigation and a lot of allegations on the RPs. So I don't know, this was not the intent on the IBC, because you see, when we were dealing with winding up matters also, we never send any communication. We bring out a public announcement, please send your claims if you want to do that. Now today, if I have to go to everyone's house to ask for it that, oh, send your claim, then the entire purpose is lost. So I don't think then it is a time-bound exercise, and a lot of allegations are going to come against RPs. This is my view, sir.
Sir, on this, I tell you, I have gone through these regulations and the liquidation regulations also. Proposed amendments are going to lead a lot of litigation.
We should be happy then.
The amended regulation have been drafted so poorly, sir. I think they should have taken advice from lawyers like you while giving a final shape to these regulations.
Well, I don't know. You see, I'm also surprised because you see, there are another regulation which IBBI itself is not following. They say before issuing any amendment, now they will discuss it in the public. Now, these were never discussed. Suddenly, and I'm surprised, within 7 days, IBBI issues 3 amendments. What is going on, sir? I mean, are you proactive or are you confusing the whole public? I mean, you can bring in one amendment where you can say, okay, 10 amendments. I can understand one amendment in 6 months or one amendment in 1 year. I mean, 3 amendments in 7 days. What is this? I mean, at the end of the day, I think something is wrong somewhere. Of course, IBBI is a very, very, very good regulator. We always call them a good regulator, super regulator. But I don't know. I mean, I will not make any comment on this.
On this time issue, I think they have written that interim resolution professional. They are not talking about a resolution professional. They are saying interim resolution professional shall send this communication. So timelines, maybe first 30 or 40 days, they are restricting to that.
Right.
But
Well,
sir, in
IRP
some
includes
cases,
RP.
I'm sorry. Sir, in some cases, IRP continues like JP. He's
I
still
know,
continuing as IRP.
I knew you will be coming up with that example. I knew that well.
He's continuing
No,
as
otherwise
IRP.
also, I think if we read the IBC, it clearly says IRP includes RP also. So I will not read it anything more than that.
Rather vice versa. RP includes IRP.
Or vice versa, and vice versa. So I don't see any problem in that.
Yes.
Because RP has also to comply with the duties of the IRP.
Absolutely.
Madan sir, I have something to add here. Suppose in a situation, normally companies which are closed, let's say, and going for insolvency, we do not get books of accounts, or probably we are getting it maybe 3 years or 5 years when it was working. Now, in that case, suppose we send a communication to the person that you are being appearing in the books or as a creditor, and he then files a claim also. Now, technically, this will be litigated by the promoter, saying that probably tomorrow he might come in the COC, but as a CD, 3 years beyond, it's barred by limitation, claim cannot be there. So again, those issues of litigation would come in cases where books of accounts are not updated. So that just I
endorse what Nipun is saying, because it will tantamount to acknowledgement. Tomorrow, I am writing to the creditor that in my books, I owe you this much of money. Well, he'll say, okay, pay me. I mean, this is something which is going to create more litigation.
Actually, MAKHIJA sir, you and me, we are wearing actually 2 hats. One as an IP, another as an advocate. So when we are all of us are wearing the hat of advocate, I think we should not criticize the amendments. If it's leading to we can't.
No, I think we should look in a broader perspective. Rather than at this stage, we should remove all our hats and then discuss.
For last many years, we have been saying it.
Yeah.
We lead to litigation, and that is the objective of the code. But actually, it is, we can't help it. It's leading to litigation.
Correct.
MAKHIJA sir gives us these issues. We IPs will get enlightened, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, I think we can go to the next one because there are a lot of amendments.
Meeting of the committee, an explanation has been provided here in section in regulation 18, and it says for the purposes of sub-regulation 2, which is convening of the meeting, it is clarified that the meetings may be convened under the sub-regulation till the resolution plan is approved under subsection 1 of section 31, or order for liquidation is passed by the adjudicating authority under section 33. But for what purposes? On matters which do not affect the resolution plan submitted before the adjudicating authority. So for this purpose, on all those issues which do not affect the resolution plan which has already been submitted before the adjudicating authority. So during this period of filing of the application for approval of resolution plan, till the date the adjudicating authority passes an order for approval of the plan or an order for liquidation, in this period, a meeting of committee of creditors may be held. Now, we have seen number of judicial pronouncements where it has been said that the COC becomes functus officio once this resolution plan application is submitted with the adjudicating authority. Some judicial pronouncements say RP becomes functus officio, but through this amendment, now it has been conveyed neither RP nor COC becomes functus officio. If COC meeting may be called, the RP shall issue the notice, RP shall chair the meeting, and the agenda of the meeting has also been discussed. Anything which is not affecting the plan can be discussed here. But in my view, I don't find any agenda item which will not be impacting the resolution plan. I think whatever agenda shall be proposed by the COC, that is going to have impact on the plan. Views of the panelists on this.
Okay, you see, my view in this is that number one, as you have rightly said, this is a reverse of jurisprudence. Till the time, you see, till this stage, we understood that COC is a functus officio. Now they have brought back the COC in this format, number one. Number two, now the agenda which I can think of, the possible agenda, replacement of the RP.
It is happening.
That is possible.
It's happening.
It will happen now, sir. It will happen. Now they will say, Mr. RP, reduce your fees or we are going to replace you. Now that poor RP will have no choice. What is going to do now? Number one. Number two, their fee issue will come. Reduction of fee can also come. Because this matter is actually hanging fire with a lot of, you see, in particularly in real estate matters, all the home buyers are crying that, look, you see, 2 years have passed, the plan is not being approved, why he's charging the same fees, why IPs are also charging the same fees. So this issue is already, you see, hanging fire. Now they get the authority, now they will call for the meeting and they will reduce the fees. So is this what we want? And on the contrary, if they say that the work is reduced, no, I mean, now he has to call COC meetings, he has to maintain records, he has to perform all the functions which he was doing earlier. So where the work is reduced to that extent. And lastly, you see, why we have to have meetings? Generally, we have seen in many cases, adjudicating authority sends back the matter, oh, you have not decided the distribution pattern, so go and decide. Because distribution is sometimes missing in the resolution plans. So they say, go and let the COC decide it. Now, COCs, and if they pass this resolution, this affects the resolution plan. So I don't know what was the purpose of putting all these things. These are adding to huge confusions, you see, in this. Of course, some matters, people said, no, we have been calling informal COC meetings because we want some approval of expenses or something like that. That's all right. Once, you see, plan is over, I think you should take care of all the future expenses, also present a budget. Most of the RPs are presenting a budget also till the time of the approval of the plan. So I don't think this was required, but yes, in some cases it may be required if the company is a going concern, but not in all cases.
But actually, sir, what was happening earlier, the RPs were approaching, filing an application before the adjudicating authority that we need to convene a COC meeting. And in some cases, we have seen the financial creditor, particularly in class, they were asking the RP to convene a COC meeting during this period. He was not convening. They were filing an application before the adjudicating authority that RP is not convening a meeting. And next is only the third amendment regulations. What has been provided that during this period, the minimum fixed fee regulation is not applicable. And during this period, the fee which shall be decided by the COC, not negotiated, as I said a couple of days before, fee which shall be decided by the COC shall be paid. On the one hand, you are reducing the fee, on the other hand, you are increasing the work.
Correct.
So in fact, just to add what MAKHIJA sir have said, you see, this clarification was not required for two purposes, because if we see section 23 proviso, insofar as operations of the CD is concerned, that was already provided under the Act that RP will continue to manage the operations of the corporate debtor till an order of approval of plan was passed or a liquidation order is passed. Now, if we say that today I convene a COC meeting, and even if I put those expenses, that will increase my CIRP cost, that will affect the resolution plan which is pending. In fact, this explanation was not required in my opinion, because this was already there for the purposes of RP. And by making this explanation, the COC has been given more power to dominate the entire process. And in fact, as MAKHIJA sir also rightly said, that it will be a gun hanging on the RP. that if you don't agree for reduction of fee or even no fee as per the new amendment, that
Yes.
whichever is earlier. So it means that there is no fee. But then, practically speaking, then 23 proviso ought to have been amended that RP is not required to manage the operations if you are not going to pay me. What you are saying is you continue to run the company, generate profits if possible, make expenses, but sorry, we will not pay you a single penny for all this time, which we may be 3 months, 6 months, a year, 2 years, 3 years, even if a resolution plan is pending or an order for liquidation is pending. So in fact, I think this explanation will ultimately have to be challenged somewhere, keeping in view the interest of the insolvency professionals at the end.
Sir, I would like to add one instance which after reading this regulation, my advice got completely contradictory. After Rainbow judgment, what has happened is, all the resolution plan benches are saying that you please amend it according to the Rainbow and pay whatever you have to pay to state tax. Now, I advised one of the clients that since state tax is now secured, and if you want to get the plan approved, so rearrange the payment in accordance with that. And interestingly, sir, to share with you, state tax has come up with an amnesty scheme. So there was some 1 crore 30 lakh something outstanding. Now, if we paid today by 30th September, so probably we would be only paying some 30-40%. So I said, okay, no problem. Now, because of the Videocon judgment, even otherwise we were taking the view that you can call the COC, even when the plan is pending with the bench. So let us convene a meeting, take a resolution that yes, we will pay them and all the COC members are agreeable. And if we pay them, ultimately whatever is saved will come into the kitty and we'll get more. So ultimately it was affecting the plan, but we thought that we will do it by way of an additional affidavit and put this minutes. But because of this explanation now, we can't do it. Because this is very clear that plan should not get affected.
What is the opinion of Mr. Pandey from the banking side? Is there? Let us take his opinion also.
I have seen Mr. Pandey. Is he here? Mr. Vinod, is Mr. Pandey here?
Yes, I have just joined.
Yes.
Good evening.
Good evening, Pandey sir.
Just give me a context first because just joined. I missed the earlier part.
This is what that during this period of from the date of filing of the application for approval of the resolution plan before the adjudicating authority till the time disposal of this application by virtue of approval of the plan or order of liquidation.
Yeah.
During this period, a COC meeting may be held now. And this COC meeting may be held for the matters which do not affect the resolution plan.
Yes.
So this is issue number one. Now this is to be coupled with the earlier issue of the which we discussed a couple of days before regarding the fee. That during this period, the minimum fixed fee regulation is not applicable.
Yes.
The RP shall be paid that fee which shall be fixed by the committee of creditors.
Yeah.
So we were on this issue.
Okay. Now, so basically, I think it is clear that you cannot modify the plan once it is filed. That is everybody knows, very obvious. So there are issues like preferential transactions. There can be other issues like some many other issues can be there which can be discussed other than the resolution plan, like the management of the corporate debtor during this period. If the corporate debtor is running, many of the issues may come up. Even after plan is submitted, still the operation, the CD is under operations. So many issues crop up which need or which require the approval of COC. I think for that matter, this will come handy that COC is still working, because so far it was very clear and many of the courts gave this judgment that once the plan is submitted, COC is over. So functus, something they call it in the legal language. So now I think the IBBI is making it clear, okay, COC still remains, RP remains in the job. RP should get his fees, which is decided by COC for this period, because the role of RP is reduced somehow. Like he is no more concerned with the some of the aspects of the CRP. So if COC decides to continue with the same fees as he was getting hitherto, fine. So I don't think it is making much of a difference as such. Rather, yeah.
Pandey ji ki statement se mujhe lag raha hai definitely it is going to lead to more litigation and more disciplinary actions. Because what Mr. Pandey has said, the COC meeting will be held for those purposes for which COC approval is required.
Yes.
No, it means during this period, all those items listed in under 28(1), can they not be transacted without approval of COC during this period?
No, you see, to some extent he is right. I'll tell you, in one of the cases, the issue was appointment of the statutory auditor. Now RP said, look, COC is gone. I cannot replace it without the approval of the COC. I can't hold the COC meeting. So on this matter, I agree. Like I can come back to the COC and say, I want to replace, and they will give me authority and I will replace. That's all right. And to his point is also very valid to an extent that if the company is a going concern, so management issues may come up. Sometimes supposing an eviction notice comes or something, any notice can come in which affects the management or the going concern, which can be discussed now by the COC. That's all right. But as Anand also mentioned that, look, RP in any case was supposed to manage the company with or without COC. So that would not have affected anything. But Pandey Sahab, we were discussing one thing when you were not there.
Mm-hmm.
We feel, and you also mentioned right now, that COC में तो RP का काम अब after the COC is over, the plan is submitted, RP का काम reduce हो गया. So therefore he should be entitled for a lesser fees. Now this is our worry. You see, today what is going to happen is, now the COCs will come and say that, look, Mr. RP, we are going to pay you 50,000 per month now. Now, if you don't agree, we will replace you. Now, this is going to happen. Now, the worry is, now arming COC is not a problem. But here, you see, you can't discuss the plan. You can discuss replacement. You can discuss reduction of fees. And in any case, you know, there is a lot of competition amongst IPs also nowadays. So today, the RPs are worried that their fees will be reduced. That is what their worry is.
So I think it is something to be negotiated between the COC and the RP. So I don't think COC will be so not conscious of the delivery by RP that they'll just go for a change at this stage. I think it's because RP, who has brought the company to a resolution stage, he has to be a part of the implementation committee also. So he still has value. And one biggest value RP brings to this system, as I have been telling since beginning in my circular also, we have kept this proviso that if the IRP appointed by NCLT, even without being impaneled with SBI, if he comes in as a IRP, we should continue with him provided we are comfortable with him. If he is competent, he is doing a good work. And similarly, that goes on for this period also, as for liquidator. So it is for the COC and the RP and the confidence between them. I don't think it will be a big issue. And fees, I think, is not, I don't know the experience of RPs with other banks. I think SBI has been very clear and very upfront about fees, and we have been like paying fees in a very good way, like good fees, and at the same time, we have never been cribbing on the fees.
Sir, आप big daddy हो, SBI सारे SBI नहीं है ना?
Sir, SBI, I have heard SBI has become very aggressive in the sense that for the approval of the plans, now they are putting so much of pressure because at the end of the day, plans are pending for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And as advocates of RPs, we have been attending religiously and we are ready for argument. But at the end of the day, we see the benches are not hearing the matter. So every time I get a message from the DGM or GM, oh, I got a call from managing director. So what is the status of the plan? I mean, this is happening actually nowadays.
I think that will be the concern of the banks, that RP and the council, whoever is visiting in, they should make good use of their offices to get the plan approved. Because if the plan is already submitted and 2 years it is taken to approve the plan by the NCLT, and then COC is spending on the RP fees and other expenses, I think that may be a concern for these. So that's why I think they are pushing for early resolution, early adjudication.
Thank you. Thank you. I think we need to rush. Now, under Regulation 35A, the existing Regulation 3 has been substituted, and substitution is nothing but that the determination of regarding this transaction application. Earlier it was 135 days. 135th day, and today now it is 130th day. So 5 days period has been reduced. There is no other change according to me. The next, I don't think it requires any discussion here.
No, I think the change which is required is that the copy of the application now is to be
I'm coming to
submitted
that, sir.
TRA.
I'm coming to
Sorry.
that. That's next one.
Sorry.
That's the instruction of new sub-regulation 3A. It says the resolution professional shall forward a copy of the application to the prospective resolution applicant. Now here, what I have observed, the prospective resolution applicant has been used first time here in 35A. Actually, it is coming under regulation 36. So how can we use the word the prospective resolution applicant and has been used in singular? According to me, it should have been written to all prospective resolution applicants. You are not going to one. I'm now reading it again. The resolution professional, मैंने control F करके भी देखा था कि इससे पहले नहीं आ रहा कहीं. The resolution professional shall forward a copy of the application to the prospective resolution applicant to enable him. It should be to enable them. To enable him to consider the same while submitting the resolution plan within the time initially stipulated. Now this is the insertion. Any comments on this?
I think here what they want to convey is that by 130th day, the PRA is already finalized. That is the sense coming from this. Okay, one PRA is finalized. He has submitted a plan, and that plan is under discussion. And then this particular application should be shared with him. So that's why
90 timelines actually.
Yeah. So that is my sense.
In fact, I think this forwarding a copy of the application to the prospective resolution applicant ultimately will have to be read with 36. 36A says prospective resolution applicant. Now, because of the issue of Venus recruiters, that ultimately who will pursue the application and how the funds, if any, recovered from those applications will be dealt with in a resolution plan is actually a debatable issue before various benches. I think this will clarify because the resolution applicant may provide for the manner in which the application will be pursued by whom, because in one of our matter, in fact, the bench asked the RA to give an affidavit by way of an undertaking.
All this has been provided in the amended regulation,
yes,
CIRP regulation as well in the liquidation regulations.
That's
also.
Right. Now, so therefore, I think this has to be read with that regulation. It can't be read in isolation. Ultimately, this is only for the purposes of who will pursue and how it will be pursued.
But at this stage, submission of the application to prospective resolution applicant, they are not even provisional.
In fact, in my opinion, the same should be part of the IM ultimately, because it is what you are saying is that any asset which is recovered from this avoidance application, for example, a preferential transaction, if money is recovered, who ultimately Honorable Supreme Court says in JP that money should go to the corporate debtor account. So that money becomes an asset of the CD.
So basically now what the IBC or the regulation wants is that resolution plan should make it clear who will ultimately follow up on this preferential transaction and who will get this point.
Well, I'll come to that later on. That is a separate amendment. Right now, we are restricting ourselves to submission of copy of the application to prospective resolution applicants.
I think there are multiple applicants at this stage, then they all have to get a copy. That is my sense.
I have only one. Sorry, Nipun, go ahead.
No, please, sir, please. Ashish, sir, please.
I have only one short comment on this. Number one, now the RPs are under, you can say, a lot of pressure to file an application within the 130th day. Now, assuming the forensic audit is not completed or transaction audit is not completed, so application is not filed within 130th. We have not seen in many cases the application is being filed in 130th day. Now, then what will happen? That is one. Number two, then the RA will always put the blame on the RP that, look, he did not supply me the copy, so therefore I did not deal with this particular amount in the resolution plan. So I think these things are going to complicate, but at the end of the day, the noble purpose is that now they are forcing the RPs to file the application within the time which is 130th day. So I think RPs must take note of this and they must be very vigilant. Otherwise, there are going to be problems for them. Yes,
If
Nipun.
any forensic audit or transaction audit is required to be done, that should be completed by this time.
Yes.
Sir, I just wanted to add here that this issue, whether these applications would be continued by the COC or by the purchaser, this has gone to Supreme Court because of the DHFL matter. Now, here, what I think regulations are trying to suggest is that the right which normally now the COCs are keeping with them so that money comes to them. Probably this is suggesting that you are giving the application means technically you are giving an option to the purchaser to continue those application or to factor in the cost of that application in the price which they would be offering. So that is good, that something is being suggested by way of these regulations, because in my view,
cost is not without the benefits.
no, that's what I am saying, that suppose COC wants to continue with the application. Normally, now after this DHFL, what COCs are saying that we would like to continue the litigation because probably we will get something and they will put an X amount earmark for that. But because of this regulation, I think now when you are giving an application to the prospective RA, he will have to put a cost factor to that application. Sir, your views.
And if he says if he is going to pursue the application and the cost is provided, and certainly he will also be saying if any benefit arising out of this application will also accrue to the resolution.
That is what the thing is going on in DHFL. They have allocated just ₹1 for some 40,000 crore avoidance transaction application.
Next amendment is on Regulation 36, Information Memorandum. Earlier it was saying that RP shall submit the information memorandum to each member of the COC within 2 weeks of his appointment, but not later than 54th day from the insolvency commencement date, whichever is earlier. Now it has been replaced with, I'm reading this revised regulation. The RP shall submit the information memorandum in electronic form to each member of the committee on or before 95th day from the insolvency commencement date. So nothing to do with his appointment. From the CIRP commencement date within 95th day, this IM shall be prepared and submitted to each member of CIRP. Any discussion required on this?
So I think it is a welcome.
I think what should be done is here is that some responsibility should be placed on the IRP also, because they are squeezing the time available for making of IM. But IRP, if he stays for say 90 days and after that the RP is replaced, then he may have only 4 or 5 days to complete and submit a IM. I think that would be a challenge.
Exclusion applications running in the period in between the RP to IRP, this time has been taken by the adjudicating authority.
So why not put some responsibility onus on the IRP also? Let him prepare some draft IM. If he stays beyond 1 month, he has access to all the information.
It may be a genuine problem. Suppose the IRP is, yes, RP is appointed on 80th or 85th day or 90th day. Certainly this issue may arise now.
Issue will arise, yes.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, go ahead, sir. As far as the time is concerned, I think no comments are required.
Okay, second. Now it says, the information memorandum shall highlight the key selling propositions and contain all relevant information which serves as a comprehensive document conveying significant information about the corporate debtor, including his operations, financial statements to the prospective resolution applicant, and shall contain the following details of the corporate debtor and so on. Now I think it is going to be like a prospectus, according to me, or a project report which is submitted to a bank or a financial institution for whenever you're going to take a loan.
So I'll share one anecdote here. Like when we were at IBBI, it was initial stages, somewhere February, March 17. So there we used to discuss what will be the design of a resolution plan, what will be design of IM. So Mr. Sahu asked me to make a presentation. I said, sir, no presentation required. You just pick up the prospectus from SEBI, prospectus sample, and put it in the IF, full and final. You don't need. But at that time, that was not accepted. But I think we are going that way. So ultimately, you will reach a stage where it will be nothing but a prospectus for a public issue, and all kind of information involved there will come in the IF. So I think coming 5 years late, but idea was already there in 17.
But it's not a small job, I tell you. It requires a lot of outsourcing also. It's not a small thing. You might have to appoint so many professionals for this purpose. Maybe engineers, technocrats, chartered accountants, lawyers, so many other professionals are required to be.
I think now this will become a professional service that you can outsource the preparation of IM to maybe outside.
Yes.
Professional.
Pandey Sahab, if you say prospectus, then there will be 2-page disclaimers also now. and remember Companies Act, misstatement in prospectus is a serious offense. It is a cognizable offense under the Companies Act.
But today also, because of IM, lot of litigation is going on. You are aware, I think, because every successful resolution and ultimately challenges the IM. This information was not there. So ultimately, they are trying to cover that.
And for any wrong statement in the prospectus, it is the merchant banker now who is liable under the Companies Act.
So same thing will be for RP also. Any wrong statement, RP.
We need to take it very, very seriously, this particular amendment. It's not a small thing.
Right.
Sir, I would just like to share that in Rainbow paper, the ground for withdrawal by RA was that, I don't remember exact capacity, but let's say the IM said 1000 metric ton per maybe day. And when he started and took over, it was some 700 or 600 metric ton. So that he made the ground for withdrawal of the resolution plan. Though ultimately it was rejected by NCLT and NCLAT. Now the matter has gone to Supreme Court again. Let us see. But this is going to be very dangerous.
Yes.
Yes, it's not a liquidation as is various basis.
Ultimately, entire resolution plan will be based on IM. So unless you have accurate information in IM, anybody can challenge it. So his valuation will go wrong.
No,
but Pandey, I would say, you see, if there is a material, deviation, then it is possible. Otherwise, you see, the RAs have to conduct their own due diligence. This is only an information supporting them. I mean, if there is a material deviation, yes, haul him up. But if there is no material, I think we have to be a little liberal for the RPs.
In fact, if this has to be seen in light of whether the information was available with the RP or not, because ultimately we have seen the fate of 19.2 applications. It is only a mere formality remaining now because the RPs are not getting the entire information. This, even if we look at the time, I think it's a welcoming sign because earlier it was 2 weeks, which is 14 days. In 14 days, RP doesn't even get custody in some matters, rest alone the information. Now 95 days probably have been brought in to look into the effect of even 19.2. Maybe by then, at least some directions will be issued by the adjudicating authority to the suspended board to provide that information so that the IM is, contains all the information as required.
Okay.
I think it is coming from the economic concept that lack of information becomes more discount. So for a RA who is coming in, the lesser information he gets, he will put more discount on the asset. So if he values the asset for 100, he will put a discount of 50 rupees because entire information is not there. So they want to have maximum information so that this discounts come down. That is the basic economic idea.
Now, it says IM shall provide the following details. In A, it has been added assets as liabilities, including contingent liabilities. Now, this is a debatable term. Including contingent liabilities. If you see the financial statement of the corporate debtor, the contingent liabilities have been given by the management and audited by the financial auditors. Now, whether these contingent liabilities in an addition or outside the financial statement, why these have been specifically mentioned here now, including contingent liabilities? Does it mean any liability which may arise in future, which is subject to any court litigation right now, which is subject matter of any arbitration right now? Do they mean that Because I give you one practical example. In one case, what happened? The financial creditor, the RP prepared IM, and on the basis of IM, the plan was given. Now, in one particular operational creditor, his claim was into arbitration, and that is pending. So, RA considered this particular creditor as contingent creditor. Because this liability may be there, may not be there, because it is subject to arbitration. So this particular operational creditor was provided as contingent creditor, and accordingly plan was submitted. Now that particular operational creditor approaches NCLT, his application is dismissed. He approaches appellate authority, appeal is dismissed. He approaches Supreme Court, and then his withdrawal is appealed from Supreme Court. And now the plan is approved, plan is implemented. But now IBBI issues a show cause notice to this resolution professional that where from this term contingent creditor has come. If RA has provided this term contingent creditor, it means this plan is not as per section 30 subsection 2. You should not have placed this plan before the COC. And just because of this RP has been held guilty and he has been punished also. And now we are getting this amendment, including contingent liabilities. On what basis we are going to write or calculate these contingent liabilities? This is my question to the panelists.
See, Madan sir, as far as contingent liability is concerned, I think we need not debate too much because contingent liabilities are clearly defined in accounting standards. Contingent liability can be a possible obligation which may arise from the past events, and it may arise for an uncertain future event. And it can be a present obligation because at the end of the day, we do not know whether that event will occur or not occur. That is why, because accountants are always conservative in nature. They say we will account for all liabilities, but we will not account for the contingent assets. So as far as the contingent liability is concerned, I think the issues are very clear as far as the chartered accountants are concerned. But yes, it is an additional job for the RP. I don't deny that. But at the end of the day, I think we must see that RAs are also, have the right to know what are the hidden liabilities. Now, if there are hidden liabilities are there, such as contingent liabilities, I think they should know that. That was the purpose. Probably this has been brought in. I will not see too much in this.
But sir, RA is going to have his own due diligence also, no?
Sir, that is all right. But contingent liabilities.
Why RP should be? Why RP should be held responsible for everything?
No, he is not being held responsible.
He has the books
No, he is only sharing the information. Please understand. Supposing, as Madan Sahab has said, some litigation is going on. So whether you will put that litigation into the or not, because otherwise, how that person is going to come to know RA? It's not that forgetting RP put into this. Idea is that RP, whatever information he has, he should not keep it with himself. He should put it in the domain of RA. Let him calculate, let him do his own due diligence.
I think we are expecting too much from the RP now that within 95th day, everything is to be done. Out of which first 30 days go for the reconciliation, constitution of COC, holding first COC meeting. Within 95 days, doing all this is going to be a big task.
So that's why they are allowing IPs to act as IP also. So I think task will be divided among different.
धीरे-धीरे हो वही रहा है कि IPs ही बचेंगी, IPs नहीं बचेंगी.
Yes.
Okay. Then they further added the word the geographical coordinates of fixed assets. All this shall also be added in the information memorandum. Then two bullets have been added in this particular regulation, sub-regulation J, clause J and clause K. Again, this is nothing but, as Pandey Sahab said, a part of the prospectus, that company overview. It is company overview. Including snapshot of business performance, contracts, key investment highlights, and other factors which bring out the value as a going concern over and above the assets of the corporator, such as brought forward losses in the income tax return, input credit of GST, key employees, key customers, supply chain linkages, utility connections, other pre-existing facilities. So what does it mean, pre-existing facilities? I don't know. I'm not sure about what are these pre-existing facilities. If any panelist can throw light on this, what is the pre-existing facilities?
Maybe they're talking about bank facilities or no.
No, you know, if you see the sequence, supply chain linkages, utility connections, and other pre-existing facilities.
Yeah, here the other key facilities are like if you have, say, water connection, if you have some gas connection, if you have some other facilities which are already there, pre-existing. So he should know, because otherwise he will not have to spend that much money on that particular thing. I won't read too much into this. I think at the end of the day, idea is maximization of value. And if you are able to sell, I think the job of RP is what? The job of RP is a facilitator. He's there to get maximum value. I think this is exactly his job. We should not be afraid of doing it. His job is, of course, verifying claims. I think that is more clerical. This is exactly his job. So I don't read too much into this.
Makhija sahab, what you are saying is right, but at the same time, he has been made responsible. All liabilities are on his head. He is not getting the information, then where will he go? That poor man is not getting his fees, he is not getting his salary, he is getting a very abuse from the promoter, from the judiciary, and from IBBI. And now he is finished.
Sir, I think that's the job hazard he is carrying. So yes,
so that job hazard is to be reduced by IBBI being the regulator of IP, or should increase it.
I don't have any issue with this.
वो तो ये तो खेल में हो गया सब कुछ.
My concern is only the timelines and the adequate remuneration to be paid to the resolution professional for doing all these things.
Actually, Madan sir, what we look at when the addition is made, J and K are made, but nobody realizes that J and K पहले भी थे, वो delete हो गए थे. So two items were deleted. Now, instead of those 2 items, 2 new items have been added. So what is the problem? I don't know. I mean, IM is to be a fantastic document. This is his job. This is not adding too much to him. Like look at read the K. Now, in case you see exceeding 100 crores, then you have to give this information. Now, you don't have to give it. You can hire a professional to give it. Get an approval of the COC. They will definitely give an approval for like large cases like SR Steel. I mean, RP is not competent. He will hire some professional to prepare all these documents. And I think COC will also approve that. So I don't foresee too many things. Let's not be very negative about it.
In fact, there will be one problem in that. The word is outsourcing. Preparation of information memorandum cannot be outsourced by an insolvency professional. Now, I agree that we should welcome this amendment, but to a certain extent, because RP has to, I call him a punching bag. So he gets punches from everywhere. He will get punches from the COC, he will get punches from the court, from IBBI. To a certain extent, that COC approval will be good for the courts. Court will not look into it because COC has approved it. But whether IBBI will look into it as an outsourcing of his task to prepare IM, or whether that will fall within the purview of section 25(2) to say you can appoint professionals even to assist him during the CIRP, will, in fact, that interpretation or clarification has not been provided so far by IBBI. And I think that is what is required from IBBI to clarify that what will constitute outsourcing and what will not constitute outsourcing. Because in various, in fact, disciplinary proceedings, this issue has, in fact, been considered. And in most of the cases, it has been held that it is a outsourcing of, his task under the provisions of the court. That, I think, is a concern which IBBI ultimately should look into at certain point. Yes, amendment definitely is welcoming, but that concern should be addressed.
Yeah, from resolution applicant point of view, certainly we must welcome it. From RP point of view also, we should welcome it. The only thing, as I said, the concern is of timelines, cost, and adequacy of fee to be paid to the RP. Because if we see here, In J, sir, earlier J and K were talking about the liquidation value and all that. But now they were deleted long back. Now it's talking about company overview, details of business evolution, industry overview, key growth drivers.
Madan sir, still they have missed something which is there in prospectus, I think. That is risk factors. That will come soon, I'm telling you. So still it's missing.
Please get them added. Please get them added. Okay. Next amendment. The resolution, now this is under the head, invitation for expression of interest, regulation 36 capital A. It says the resolution profession shall publish brief particulars of the invitation for expression of interest in Form G of schedule so and so, not later than 60th day. Earlier it was 75th day. Now it is 60th day from the insolvency commencement date. So time has been preponed by 15 days. So that's the change. Practically, how far it's possible, I don't know, but this is the change. I don't think we should develop on this.
No, but even IRP, if it is not changed, then IRP has to come out with a EY, I think. If he is not changed within 60 days.
Yes, sir.
That will be a problem.
Okay. Now, next is under 36B, request for resolution plan, RFRP. Somebody please unmute, please mute yourself on your behind the back. I think there is a lot of disturbance. So this is very interesting. I have many observations here. If the resolution professional does not receive a resolution plan in response to the request under this regulation, he may, with the approval of the committee, issue request for resolution plan for sale of one or more of the assets of the corporate debtor. So if there is no plan, then RP may issue, no doubt with the approval of the COC, RFRP, request for resolution plan for sale of one or more of the assets of the corporate debtor. First of all, to whom it will be issued? Because now you have not received any resolution plan. To whom this RFRP shall be issued? Is it known or open to the public? Or will it be to our all PRAs only?
So they should have used the word UI, not RFRP.
Sir, they are saying RFRP.
So that is the mistake, I think, because EUI, it should be a fresh UI. If you have not received any resolution plan, how can you issue RFRP?
Sir, if you issue RFRP to PRAs only, I being a member of the public, I will challenge it. Had it been for the sale of assets, I would have been eligible. I would have applied for this.
It should be fresh UI again with multiple Form Gs, like for multiple assets.
Sir, then even if RFRP is issued to those PRAs for sale of one or more assets, would not, in fact, regulation 29 come into picture? Because ultimately it says the resolution professional may sell unencumbered assets. And that clarification is not given whether encumbered or unencumbered. 29 says only unencumbered assets other than in ordinary course of business.
That you are talking about 10%, I think.
No, 29, yes. 29, sir, in fact, restricts to unencumbered assets. I am saying 6A nowhere clarifies which assets, encumbered, unencumbered, and whether encumbered assets can be sold. Under 6A, I have my doubt.
No, but under CIRP, any asset is not encumbered. It is available for sale, no? During CIRP, there is no encumbrance.
The order of Jet Airways, where assets were encumbered, NOC was required from the financial creditors in order to make an application to get an approval from the NCLT to sell those encumbered assets.
That was within 10%.
Okay.
Here it is part of the sale of asset through resolution plan.
Yes, MAKHIJA sir.
Okay. See, Abhishek, you are right to that extent. There is no quarrel insofar as sale of the assets, you see, subject to 10% with the permission of the COC, encumbered. I agree with that. There is no quarrel. But here, the intent is something different. And I am totally confused with this particular amendment which has come. who is going to define what is the meaning of an asset? There is no definition. Now, if maximum, you see, it says what is not included in the asset. That is given in section 18, but I will not apply that. Now, what is the intent? Let us try to understand the intent. They say, okay, no plan has come, but let us try to maximize the value by probably selling a single business of the company or a single undertaking of the company. Now, had they used the word business, had they used the word project, had they used the word undertaking, I would have still appreciated it. Now, in a CIRP, you want to sell the assets? I mean, what is this? Send the company to liquidation?
Liquidation.
Why do you want to sell, why do you want to sell the assets of the company? Now, and second problem. Now, it says with the approval of the committee. Now, in everywhere, we all know 66% is required, and there are 6 sections which talk about 66%. Now, this requirement of 66% is missing here. So, do we require only 51% here with the approval of the committee? Now, I am totally confused, and I think the person who has drafted it, maybe with some intent, but they have not been able to clarify the intent. Madan sir, we have to read 36C along with this. And also the amendment in 37. We have to read all together, and then probably we'll have to debate. So I will leave that debate for that time. But I am totally confused, sir.
Madam, I have given this particular view in my in one of the interviews in newspaper also a couple of days before, that what will happen after sale of these assets. You are saying one or more, it may include one or all the assets also. So
that's what I'm saying. Supposing you sell the factory building, then what is left? Tell me.
What is left? What will you do with the company? Will you file an application for dissolution of the corporator?
And here you see, I think Mr. Pandey's comments are required because look, supposing the first charge is with the SBI, right? For any bank. Now, if they decide COC with 51%, supposing they are sitting in the COC, they have only 40% voting right. Now, 51% can bulldoze now 40%, and now they can decide, okay, we will sell your assets also. Now, how is it feasible? You have a first charge over that asset. Now, you will not get the money. Then the COC will decide, oh, money has come. Now it will be distributed in this manner, leaving the main banker who had got the charge over it. Why will he agree? So I think there is some problem in this particular amendment. They should have used the word business. I mean, you want to sell a separate business. You want to sell a separate like in real estate, we have 5 projects. We are not able to sell the entire company. Let us sell one project. Supposing a company of the magnitude of, say, Reliance, it has, you see, different factories. We can sell one factory if we are not able to sell 5 factories together. I think that was the intent probably. But I think the wording which has come is absolutely defective and absolutely confusing.
Sir, what do you mean by RFRP here?
That is also there. Yes, it should be EOI. I agree with Sanjeev Pandey when he says it should be EOI, because I'll tell you why. You look at 36C. That is why I said, Madan sir, let us read 36C and 37 also. Let us debate together.
Right. Let's come to 36C. Strategy for marketing of assets of the corporate debtor. 1. This is a new regulation which has been inserted, 36C. It's a number 1. The resolution profession shall prepare a strategy for marketing of the assets of the corporate debtor in consultation with the committee, where the total assets as per the last available financial statements exceed 100 crore rupees and may prepare such strategy in other cases. So where the value of the assets is 100 crores and above, it's mandatory and may prepare such strategy in other cases, because it says resolution provision shall prepare a strategy for marketing of the asset. Number 2. Now here, in the one only, this strategy has been prepared in consultation with the committee. See next. Decision of implementing such strategy along with its cost shall be subject to the approval of the committee. You have prepared the strategy in consultation with the COC, and then you say now the implementation of the strategy shall be again subject to approval of the committee.
Basically, what they want is that at the same meeting, you should decide on the cost also.
Sir.
You take the permission, you consult them, and you add the cost. This will be the cost of getting a strategy.
Sir, whether this approval is for the cost or decision of implementing, you read it in toto. Decision of implementing such strategy along with its cost shall be subject to the approval of the committee. It's a decision of implementation also.
Madan sir, I will not read too much. I will not read too much because the first says you have to prepare. So obviously RP is preparing, obviously he's taking inputs of COC, but then he has to place it before the COC to get their approval on the decision. So decision of implementation will be given along with the cost. So he will prepare a budget. Look, this is the professionals which we have employed and something like that. So that is the strategy kind of a thing.
And this will be done at the early stage of CIRP, not at the time of getting UI. Strategy should be prepared in the first or second meeting of COC itself, so that it start implementing from that stage on.
Sir, my view is, just a minute.
Sorry.
Sir, my view is,
होता भी है तो उसकी कॉम्बिनेशन ना ले।
Mr. Pandey, in fact, I would say that look, this sale of assets is coming in a second stage. First stage is to bring the resolution plan for the company. If that fails, then you will take a call for the sale of asset. And for sale of asset, you will issue EOI and not RFRP, as it was mentioned in the previous amendment. Now, once that decision is taken, then this decision for marketing the strategy will be. This will not happen in the first or second. It will happen after the failure of receipt of any resolution plan. So it is a second stage thing.
My sense is it is again some bad drafting. Their intent is that the CIRP should go with the strategy to market the CD, not the assets. They have used the word asset.
Assets again.
So some drafting mistake is here. It should
Sir,
be
they are linking with they are linking with the 6C, 6A, sir. I have no confusion. Okay. Because of the 6A, this amendment has come. So it is only linked with 6A.
I totally agree with you that this is the sale of asset is for a particular CD where there are multiple units and the plans are coming for only 1 or 2 units and other units nobody is interested. So they want to separate the two. So those units which are not saleable can be sold as an NRRA or as an asset. And those where you are getting plans, you can get multiple or single plan. So I think that is the idea. I agree.
I think the intent should have been that you can float to Form G for the corporate debtor as a separate business or as a separate unit altogether. Assuming a corporate debtor have 2 plants, one in UP, one in Uttarakhand, they could have said that you could float 2 Form Gs for both the units separately, because the interest may be separate in different states.
Yes. Even they may have two plants with 2 different products. So somebody may be interested in one particular plant, not the other.
Yes.
So it is nothing but project-wise resolution plan.
Yes.
Correct. Not sale of each and every asset.
Where you don't get a plan for a particular project, you sell it as an asset, just like in liquidation. So I think that may be the idea.
And then I think you are inviting a resolution plan for these assets. Now, a buyer of these assets will prepare a resolution plan and he will propose how this amount shall be distributed. Because you are not selling it under 53. The distribution is not going to be as 53.
So basically, different plans will have different distribution models. So it will not that every plan will have like equitable distribution. So plan A may have some different distribution, plan B may have different distribution.
I think now 6A and 6C have to be redrafted and to be re-notified.
I have one viewpoint here.
Yes.
That is that have we given goodbye to resolution? When we are talking about sale of assets, are we saying that IPC is not for resolution, it is for recovery as it formally been accepted?
Yes, Mr. Rathi, this is what Mr. MAKHIJA said. Are we talking about liquidation here?
No, sir, I will differ here. Basically, what they are facilitating here is that if you don't get a plan for a particular asset, so don't spoil the overall resolution of the CD. Let the CD be partly resolved and partly the assets may be sold. That is the idea. It's not a foregoing.
But what used to sell?
Yeah.
What used to sale of asset?
No,
that's
Mr.
right.
Pandey, let's understand. I call for, I issue an EOI for the entire resolution plan. The plan doesn't come. Nobody files an EOI. Now, at a second stage, then I say, okay, let me sell 1 or 2 assets because they have not defined the word asset. People can misuse. Can I sell only 1 plant and machinery? Can I sell only one computer or one car under this?
That is
I
bad
think this
drafting.
is totally confusing, sir. So idea was, I mean, if you have to sell, let us go to liquidation. Liquidation is the answer. Why do you want to sell under CIRP? I have not understood, sir.
No,
If they are saying, yeah, go ahead.
No,
Sir.
wherever there is a partial plan available, I have seen many cases. I think in some large cases also the RA was interested only in a particular asset, not the entire CD. But because the plan was not available for entire CD, we took it to liquidation. So they are trying to avoid that situation, but drafting is bad. They should have clearly said that part units or part businesses can be sold as a going concern and partly can be sold as asset sale.
Correct. So the word going concern is missing, sir, out there. That's what I'm pointing out to.
Exactly. That is a bad drafting.
In my case, I tell you, in 2018 beginning itself, in one of the cases under CIRP, there were 3 different units. One of the units, for one of the, we were getting very good price, excellent price. It was a going concern unit. We asked COC, can we sell it subject to your approval? However, we will not distribute the amount. The amount shall be kept in the escrow amount, and that will be utilized as part of the overall resolution plan. Or if the company goes into liquidation, a part of the liquidation estate. COC did not agree to it. That time we were getting 18 crores of rupees for that unit. COC said, okay, apply to NCLT. We applied to adjudicating authority. That application was never adjudicated upon, still pending. And ultimately, in liquidation, that particular unit was sold for 6 crores.
Yeah.
For which we were getting 18 crores at that point of time. But simply because law does not provide anything for the sale of unit during CIRP, even though the money is being kept in the escrow account, we had this novel idea, but COC didn't agree, adjudicating authority didn't adjudicate because there's no provision in law.
Sir,
Now they are trying to
in that case, what we are saying is that we are not resolving the CD, but we are selling unit wise. Say, for example, in the case of Murli Industries, I remember the RA said that I'm interested in cement only. I'm not interested in the other businesses. And he had to take it, and then he sold out the other businesses.
So even in some cases, we have seen that the RAs are coming as a consortium, like 2 people want 2 different units. So they are forced to make a consortium and submit a plan as a joint plan.
Yeah. But sir, if you are selling one unit, that unit is sold separately as a demerger. You have to demerge first and then sell that unit. So the entire CD is not resolved. Actually, then it has gone to the liquidation, the entire CD.
No, that is not. If it is going as a going concern during CRP, it is treated as resolved.
No, sir, resolved of one unit, but not which is demerged.
So it is partly resolution, part resolution and part dissolution.
Yeah, Mr. Nipun, you want to say something?
Yes, I just wanted to add this, that suppose they are selling some units or some assets or probably some plant. Now the problem will come, which we are also facing in the going concern sale of liquidation, how to do the accounting, whether CD will be sold independent of such units or not. Because technically speaking, everybody is interested in resolution plan because they are going to get the CD itself. There would be further issue of shares, maybe cancellation of shares, maybe carry forward of losses. How that will be attributable to that unit or not, I think that is again going to be a litigating area. Because normally, sir, if we do merger or demerger also, we need to carve out that unit and assign some assets or liability. Now here the word used is sale of asset by resolution plan. So I think that is going to create some trouble.
Yes. MAKHIJA, you want to read anything? This also?
No. I think we can go to 37 now. I think we have already debated on this.
So 37, now I come to 37, which is heading is resolution plan. And it says, a resolution plan shall provide the measures as may be necessary for insolvency resolution of the CD for maximization of value of assets, including but not limited to the following. And in the following, M has been added now. Sale of one or more assets of the corporate debtor to one or more successful resolution applicants, submitting resolution plan for such assets and manner of dealing with remaining assets. Sir, merely it is a bouncer for me. I have not been able to understand it. That it says the resolution plan shall provide for the following.
The basic problem is that, sir, they are using the word assets again and again, whereas in resolution,
Sir, please. Yeah. Here a plan, we are talking about plan, a plan which is resolution applicant is submitting this plan. And they are saying the plan shall provide for the following: sale of one or more assets of the corporate debtor to one or more successful resolution applicants. Sir, what exactly is this? I don't know. MAKHIJA साहब, आप क्या कहते हैं इसके ऊपर?
I think, sir, this is the most ridiculous amendment which I have seen in my life. I mean, please go to the first, you see, sub-regulation 1. Just go to the top, sir. I think you are absolutely right. It says, a resolution plan shall provide for the measures as may be necessary for insolvency resolution of the CD for maximization of value of assets, including but not limited to the following. So, RP, so resolution plan has to provide for these measures. So, A, B, C, D are all good. Let's go to the last one now. What has been amended? Now, how RA is going to talk about this? Sale of one or more assets of the CD to one or more successful resolution applicants submitting resolution plan for such assets and the manner of dealing with the remaining asset. Well, how can a resolution plan, if he is filing for one asset, how can he say what is going to happen with the other assets? How can he say what is the manner of dealing with the other assets? I think this is the most ridiculous and unthoughtful, you see, amendment which I have ever seen. Somebody has not applied their mind while putting it. I don't know what kind of, you see, thing they are wanting in the resolution plan. This is completely irrelevant. This is completely immaterial, which is to be mentioned out there.
Basically, I'll add something here. Basically, this is the role of COC to decide how to sell the different businesses. So this should have come as a decision of some resolution of COC, how they decide to divide the asset, how they want to sell to different PRAs. So this should be on the onus of the COC, not the RA. RA, as you said, he is not concerned. Why should he be submitting the plan for another asset? He is only restricting himself to a particular client, particular business. So totally confusing, but this could have been changed to that the COC should pass a resolution where they do all this. The manner of dealing with different assets, manner of dealing with different resolution applicants, and the feasibility, viability of those plans, all those things should be on it. The COC should pass such a resolution.
Pandey sir, issue is that this is not discussion paper. These are not draft regulations.
Yeah,
actually, this regulation approved by the board, thrown open to the public, and have already been implemented from the date of the publication in the official gazette. And this is what the final document is.
So this is adding difficulties, not removing difficulties.
I think
complete non-application.
Yes.
Yeah, Mr. Ravi wants to say something.
Sir, in some of our resolution plans, we are saying that when suppose I get 10 assets as a part of my resolution plan, we want to sell off some of these assets because they are not necessary or something like that. I think this refers to that kind of a situation maybe. Suppose that 10 machines, because the turnover...
No, Mr. Ravi, that's all right. We are not denying that. But how can a resolution plan can say these kind of things? We are debating that.
Nice, in our plan only, suppose the company has 10 machines. 10 machines will give you, may say, 100 crores of turnover, 100 tons of material output. But the market is only 50 tons. So in which case, no, 50% of the machinery I can sell off, no? Because then you should not say that.
No, Mr. Ravi, let's read this first. It says sale of one or more assets of the corporate debtor to one or more successful resolution applicant. So SRA is filing a resolution plan and he's talking that I will sell it to another SRA. No, we are debating that, sir. This is not that what you are discussing. I understand where you are coming from. That as an SRA, when I put the plan, I will say, okay, I will sell unnecessary asset. That's a part of the plan. That is no confusion. But here what we are talking about, they are saying sale of the assets and the manner of dealing with the remaining assets. So either he is taking the full company and then he says, I will sell some of it. I can understand that. But this is not related to that. This is something totally confusing.
Oh.
Sir, it can mean that there can be more than one SRS.
Yes, of course, that is the idea. But only problem here is that the PRA will only say that I will have only these assets and not have these assets. He will say some negative. He will say I will not want to have those assets. He cannot say who else will have those assets. He cannot submit a plan for somebody else.
Are we talking about some sort of cartel here? That one RA is submitting the plan and he's saying, I will sell the assets to another SRA.
That is not possible.
Once I become SRA, I will sell the assets to some other SRA.
But sir, two SRAs can only be if there are two plans approved.
And here you say, yes, right? Here you say each resolution plan shall I provide for this.
Yes.
I think Abhishek is aware that in one single case of one of our cases, we set a precedent where two resolution plans were approved in a single case, single company. There was no precedent. In fact, the RP came to me when they were unsuccessful in EOI, and home buyers also came to me. I said, do it. Publish an EOI for project wise. They said, sir, can we do that? I told them, and I remember my words, I said, we will set a precedent. Please do that. And ultimately, we were successful. And in fact, I was grilled by the benches for almost 45 minutes that, Mr. MAKHIJA, is it permitted? Can two SRAs can come? I said, yes, my lords, it can come. I took them to all the provisions and we were able to convince them. So I can appreciate two plans coming, but this language is very difficult. This is something which is completely non-application of mind.
So I think now on this we should conclude that 36A, 36C and the 37 one needs to be revisited.
Madan sir, only one small point. I wanted to make a small point.
Yes,
the way, the regulations are being amended left, right and center, do we have an enabling provision in the code?
That provision is there, no doubt about that. But whether we can make changes on everyday basis, I need to read that.
But the way, the regulations are being amended, don't we need an enabling provision in the code?
Sir,
No, there are enabling provisions. IBBI is empowered to make regulations. No? So that is the...
Please remember management rule number 1 and rule number 2.
I remember, sir.
Okay. Next is motion. Is there anything else there?
9B.
39BA, right? Okay. Assessment of compromise or arrangement. Interesting provisions. While deciding to liquidate the corporate debtor under section 33, the committee shall examine whether to explore compromise or arrangement as referred to in sub-regulation 1 of regulation 2B of liquidation process regulations, and the resolution profession shall submit the committee's recommendations to the adjudicating authority while filing application under section 33. Fine, I don't find any issue with that. Where a recommendation has been made under sub-regulation 1, the RP and the committee shall keep exploring the possibility of compromise or arrangement during the period the application to liquidate the CD is pending before the adjudicating authority. So whatever the time is there after filing of the application for liquidation till the time this application is approved, COC and RP both shall continue to explore the possibilities that can there be a scheme of compromise or arrangement under section 230 of Companies Act 2013. Now, two different provisions are there simultaneously. One is exploring the possibility of compromise arrangement. Other is to sell the company CD as a going concern. When we come to liquidation process regulations, we will be discussing. There are also certain amendments. But right now, I would like to confine to this particular amendment only. And I would like to have comments of the panelists on this.
I will only add one thing, since we were discussing what is the role of RP after the plan is filed. This is one job they have given already.
Sir, पैसे नहीं देंगे, फीस नहीं देंगे, लेकिन काम पूरा करवाएंगे. COC मीटिंग में करेगा, वो possibilities भी explore करेगा.
So now the RP will start running after the promoters. Sir, you bring a compromise proposal so that we can withdraw liquidation application.
It may be with the creditors also, not with the promoter. With the creditors also, it may be with anybody.
So that is one job given already during the period from filing a plan. And I think this compromise, I think good if they feel that liquidation, they are getting something above liquidation value from the promoters. So why not allow them? Only thing Whether 29A will apply here or not, that is, I think, for Mr. MAKHIJA to advise. Whether we enter compromise.
29A would affect us, huh? 29A is there.
No, in a compromise, it will not affect. Again, 12A
Yes,
will
yes,
apply.
it will affect. It is specifically
It will
made
affect.
as a
It will affect, sir. The Honorable Supreme Court has already, in Jagat Ramka, has laid down the law.
No, now there is amendment in the regulations also, it will impact. After that, Gujarat NRE Code, till Gujarat NRE Code, it was allowed. But after Gujarat NRE Code, it's not allowed. The regulations have been amended accordingly.
Yeah, regulation is strictly amended. Madan sir, one question, either ASHISH or Madan sir. Why compromise? Why compromise arrangement is not permitted during CIRP?
It is permitted.
Or is it permitted?
Permitted under 12A, no? Compromise is permitted.
Yeah, that settlement only.
That is
only during CIRP.
And that is 12A settlement is nothing to do with the 230 settlement.
No, nothing.
But during CIRP you cannot have 230, no?
Yes.
During IBC, Companies Act will not apply. You cannot have 230 with the CIRP, IBC.
A compromise arrangement, what we are talking about is 230 arrangement, correct?
So that can happen only after you file for liquidation. That is what they are trying to convey. So during CIRP, only IBC will apply. No Company Act will apply. And during that period, 12A will apply.
Yeah, my question, during CIRP, why one cannot go for compromise arrangement under?
It's already there. It is inbuilt under 12A. Na? What sort of settlement, what is the compromise arrangement you require? That's already there, and 29 is not applicable there.
Yes.
It's already
So
part
that's
of
12A is happening with the applicant and the CD, no?
That is what you need. What sort of compromise arrangement is there otherwise?
Okay, fine.
The press, what Mr. Vinod is talking about, the compromise arrangement with the financial creditors.
In settlement also, yes. Once your COC has been formed, you are going to have a settlement with the financial creditor. You need 90% of the voting in favor of this.
So it is there. Actually, it is there. 12A is there for this purpose only. Yes. The only thing is that 90% is required, not 60-60.
Yes. Mr. MAKHIJA, your views on this?
Okay. See, insofar as this is concerned, well, I understand where the IBBI is coming from. They are saying, look, RP is sitting idle when he has moved an application under section 33 for an order under 33. Now it is taking 1 year time. He is not doing anything. This is only in one circumstance where no plan comes and there is a decision to liquidate and an application for 33 has gone. That's the only one situation. If a plan is pending, then he can't explore this. Now they say, don't remain idle. Please keep on exploring. You see about the compromise or arrangement. To that extent, it is fine. Now, there are 2-3 questions which remain unanswered. Number one.
Sir, on this, whatever you have said, one thing here, what you have said, that's not the obligation of the RP. And first time I am seeing that some mandatory provision for COC also. It says the RP and the COC shall keep exploring the possibility. It's mandatory on both of them.
Yeah. Correct. So they will also explore. Obviously, they will also can persuade some people to file a compromise or arrangement or whatever. That's one part.
It's a very rare provision where the COC has been directed to do something by IBBI.
Yeah. Number two. So that's the way of a poor drafting, I would say. Number two. Supposing they are able to find out a person that you see there is a compromise or arrangement. Now, what is the idea? Idea is they cannot approach the court at this stage or NCLT that, look, we have found a person, there is a compromise scheme, don't send the company into liquidation. No, that's not the idea because it is not written in that many words. The idea is that there is a regulation to be under the liquidation. Let us not waste time in the liquidation because there also 90 days is given. So they say, please consume this time, be ready. The moment company goes into liquidation, you can immediately file that compromise scheme. I believe that is the idea. Because otherwise, I don't see how can a compromise can be filed under a CIRP. You see, this thing, that is not permitted. I think to answer Mr. Vinod's, because what he was talking, the settlement can be with one creditor and still may be approved by 90%. But compromise is something which may take over the company as a going concern. So this is something different.
Yes.
because the compromise or arrangement cannot be filed by the promoters. The settlement can be done by the promoters, but compromise or arrangement cannot be done by the promoters if they are ineligible under 29. And 90% of the time we see that they are ineligible. But it can be filed by other creditors, it can be filed by the shareholders or the members of the companies, that's all right. But what I feel is, the sense is that please keep on exploring, please use this time so that the moment the company goes into liquidation, you are ready with the compromise arrangement under Regulation 2B. That's what I think.
No, MAKHIJA sir, before the liquidation order is passed, and if some compromise scheme is there, then the RP or with the help of COC can go to NCLT and request them to approve that compromise without going into the liquidation.
Podar sir, I'll just interrupt you here. I'm sorry. It is not written. It is not written here. What NCLT can approve only resolution plan. They cannot approve any compromise. There is no provision. There is a provision of Regulation 2B in liquidation. According to me, as Vikramji was also saying, regulations cannot override the law. In law, you have to give it a shape of a resolution plan only. There can't be any compromise or arrangement which can be approved by NCLT at this stage.
Okay, now let's come to 40D. I think this is the last one. Decision for liquidation. Here also, I have found some drafting errors. I don't know whether I have read them wrongly or actually they are errors. The committee, while considering the liquidation of the corporate debtor, may consider factors including but not limited to non-operational status for preceding 3 years, goods produced or services offered, services offered or technology employed being obsolete, absence of any assets, lack of any intangible assets or factors. I think this or should not be read with lack of any intangible assets. They are independent of each other now. Or factors which bring value as a going concern over and above the physical assets like brand value, intellectual property, accumulated losses, depreciation, and investments that are yet to mature. I think if separately पढ़ेंगे तो कुछ meaning निकल के आएगा, but the way it has been drafted, कोई meaning उसमें there's bound to be certain confusions.
Sir, I'll make some comments here.
Please.
Regarding the intent of this particular section.
Yes.
What's happening is that some of the banks or some of the COCs, I'll say, they feel comfortable in liquidation. So they are feeling if we approve a resolution plan, maybe below liquidation value, or even there is some risk in approving the plan. So let's go for liquidation where there is no risk. Now what IBBI is trying to push them to record their reasons for liquidation. If you have a resolution plan in place, still you are pushing for liquidation, okay, you justify your decision. That may be the intent as I understand.
So the language says that COC, while considering the liquidation of the CD, may consider factors.
Yes.
It's a guiding factor on it. This particular.
So basically they have to explain their decision, why they are going for liquidation, why they are not opting for a resolution or another EOI maybe.
I think what should have been done, may consider factors including but not limited to. After this, I think there should be bullets niche A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, so that the exact meaning is communicated. So these are some of the factors, but everything in continuous, like continuation, after comma, there are bound to be certain confusions, according to me. Yes, sir.
Actually, Madan Sahab, if I read it, well, probably this has not been legally drafted. That's one. Of course, the intent, I agree with Sanjeev ji. Like, if you decide to liquidate, you have to give reasons. You can't just say, I want to liquidate. Now, COC is bound to give reasons that look, whether it is, you see, the non-operational status, there is an obsolete technology, non-availability of assets or lack of certain factors, that's fine. I mean, whatever factors you want to see. In fact, these are only illustrative. They are not stopping that you can add more reasons. But look at the last sentence. such consideration may be recorded and submitted in the application for liquidation submitted by the resolution. Now, I mean, we don't draft laws like this. Either it should be A, B, or, I mean, how you draft such consideration may be recorded? I mean, are we writing an article? Are we writing an article? Are we writing a law? Actually, I don't know who is drafting these regulations nowadays, but it's a very, very poor language, poor judicial language.
Sir, I think it is somewhat a spill of some judgments which were passed here, sir, in NCLT. I have seen here when before the time period, let's say before 180 days or 270 days, we file liquidation application. Court is recording it in the order that there are no reasons why the company is going into liquidation, and the purpose is resolution. Therefore, we are rejecting liquidation. We are granting extension so that possibilities of resolution can be explored. So there are few orders like this which I have seen in NCLT Ahmedabad. So I think somewhat that is the reason for making it mandatory to record.
Issue, Nipunji, issue is not of intent. Issue is of drafting.
I agree, sir. I completely agree and endorse what MAKHIJA ji.
And again, both these paragraphs in 40D3, they are discretionary. It's a committee may consider. It's not a committee shall consider. Committee may consider, and here the such consideration may be recorded and submitted. So both are discretionary in nature. It's up to COC only. I hope the earlier one, it should have been, both should have been made mandatory. That the committee shall consider such considerations, it should be consideration, shall be recorded. Both should have been made mandatory so that it becomes a reasoned application for liquidation.
In fact, in one of the cases where I was appearing for the RP before the CIRP period, because COC decided to liquidate, so we filed liquidation. So court first said that, no, you can't file such an application. I am dismissing it. So I said, sir, I can't do anything as an RP. It's my job that whatever COC decides, I will have to come to you. So then they directed COC to represent. And because COC was not representing by a lawyer or either in person, so they directed COC to remain present. So that's how probably this is.
I think some forms and all that have been modified. I'm not going through the forms and the schedules. This is what on the CIRP amendment regulations. And I don't think there's a time now to discuss on the liquidation or the voluntary liquidation amendment regulations. Maybe next 5 odd minutes we can spend on some discussion on whatever we have discussed so far.
We'll take some questions.
Vinodji, you can take up the questions if they are given in the chat box.
Yes, we can take up the questions given in the chat box, but I already went through that, which we are already discussed in fact. Therefore, I would like to raise hand by people so that it will be easy for taking the case specifically. I can see that Ravi,
I'm Ravi Shankar Devarakonda, sir. Sir, in case two Form Gs have to be issued in case of a company, like a real estate company has 2 projects, how do we distribute the liabilities? Supposing there are common liabilities like a GST, income tax, or salaries of the employees, how do we distribute between the projects or between the 2 units? That was my question.
Okay. Okay. I think that's a good question. In fact, Mr. Ravi, we also face the same problem in these projects. So what we did was, and I can tell you, of course, that application is pending before the adjudicating authority to decide, because nobody wanted to talk about the common liabilities or the common asset. There can be common assets also. Now, what we did, we valued the projects. So we compared the values, we compared the claims also. And we found the claims and the values for 2 projects was almost similar. So we got a ratio of around 30, usually 30% to 70%. So we said we are going to divide in 30% and 70%. So, and we have tried to convince and we have given that basis to the adjudicating authority, because both the resolution applicants are not agreeing as of today. So what we had the option, we had to go to the adjudicating authority. That application is still pending, but this is the basis. But if the ratio of the claim and the ratio of the value is quite different, then probably you can give some weightages. So on the weightages, and then you can calculate a weighted average kind of a thing. And I think that will be the best basis to divide the common assets or the common liabilities.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, anybody having specific question? I'm not seeing any hands.
Vinodji, I think it's time to wind up. We have already crossed it.
That's what I think, because a wonderful session is went off, and all our panelists, as usual, debated on the thing. I think which is more than what we are expected. In that situation, I don't think anything is further discussed. Discussion can be happen, and it's an endless process. But in the given particular scenario, we have completed, I think. So we can go for a binding up process. I just welcome Mr. Paramjit Singh, one of the director, to give a feedback on the meeting, and followed by Mr. Rajendra Puranik. I will just go the word of thanks. Puranik, over to Puranik. Hello,
Yeah.
Mr. Paramjit.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Am I audible?
Audible.
Yes. Okay. So we are pleased that we are able to organize this second webinar with such best speakers of IBC in our country. And I think all the participants are enlightened with their perfect views on these amendments. Still, some confusions are there in these amendments, and in the due course, maybe some new amendments or some clarifications may be there. So I thank you very much for all the participants for joining in this big number. And today again, our participant goes to approximately the maximum capacity. And after maximum capacity, many of our participants have to join on YouTube channel. So that also crossed 100. So this is very good thing that, and this is only due to the so excellent speakers in our panel. So I will request all the participants to join our YouTube channel and subscribe to it. And this video will be available on our YouTube channel also. You can view from there. And if you have any suggestion for improvement, you can please write to us info@PIPL.in. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Paramjit. We are very much sorry. There are some technical glitches happened in the beginning of the session. Even our panelist was also not able to come in. Sorry for that. We will get trained more to handle all such situations. This is the time we are inviting Mr. Puranik, who is the director of the company, to go for a vote of thanks. Mr. Puranik.
Yeah, am I audible?
Audible.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
You are audible.
Yeah. Thank you, 100 members on this VC, plus I think 42 members there on YouTube channel for watching this our second webinar in the series. What we discussed today, 16 September 22.
You face any problem?
No, I have not faced any problem. I think everybody got proper this.
Sometimes you may be having an internet problem. You can switch off your video and complete.
Am I audible?
Audible.
Hello?
Yes, audible.
Yeah. So thank you all for this learned discussion today. Actually, I will say thanks to our stalwart ASHISH MAKHIJA sir, SANJEEV Pandey sir, GP MADAAN sir, NIPUN SINGHVI sir, ABHISHEK ANAND sir for giving their insight into this new 16 September 2020 amendment of CIRP. What we discussed today, I will just highlight the important issues: handing over email ID to the next person in the process, the communication to the creditors in the last known address of the books of accounts,
then calling COC meeting to decide matters other than resolution plan. Then 5 days period is reduced for appropriate relief from 135 days to 130 days. Then the RP shall forward a copy of application to prosperity resolution applicant. The information memorandum to be submitted within 95 days. The information memorandum to be a comprehensive document. It should have contingent liabilities, geographical location of the assets, the details of business evaluation. Then we discussed the invitation of express interest. Brief particulars should be given within 60 days. Then no blank, then RFAP for sale from one or more assets of the CD. The strategy for marketing the assets of the CD. The resolution plan shall provide for sale of one or more assets of ASHISH to one or more successful resolution applicants. Then assessment of compromise or arrangement by committee and resolution proportion. And finally, we discussed a decision for liquidation to be given by the committee. I think in all, I think we discussed almost 14 amendments in CIRP. So I think it was a very nice discussion by all the panelists, especially by MADAAN sir and MAKHIJA sir, because these are stalwarts everywhere. Every time they are coming to our forum and they are addressing. We are happy, sir. We will request you come again and again and give proper understanding of the subject. When we read, we are not able to understand. But when you tell us their pros and cons, then actually we are getting proper understanding of that subject. So really thankful to MADAAN sir and our MAKHIJA sir, ABHISHEK, ANAND sir, NIPUN, SINGHVI sir, PANDEY sir. So now with this, I will thank our board of directors, Vinod sir, for arranging this seminar in a short period of time. Ramila madam, Prasad sir, Seti sir, Pradeep Kaushik sir, and our Vimal Kumar sir, Dr. Singh sir. These are our board of directors who are working around the clock for getting seminars and all types of knowledge sharing session. Now with this, I thank everybody because 100 people are joined and almost 8 o'clock is there. I think we have to wind up for our dinner. So our next webinar is on 24th of September at 11 o'clock. It will be by our learned teacher and our experienced person Suresh Kumar on IBC background and initiation of CRP. That is on Saturday, this Saturday at 11 p.m. So I request all the people to join again. With this, I'll say thank you to all, and please do visit our video YouTube channel and like it, share it, and get benefit from it. Thank you all.
Yes, thank you, Pranik. But I just wanted to highlight one thing. MAKHIJA ji, NIPUN ji, MADAAN ji. What we are not getting from IPA, that's what you're delivering for us. These are the arrangement to be done by IPA for our education. But in fact, it's not happening. We are getting from all these gurus. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Bye. Night.
Hello.